Hi, my name is Lori Mayer. I'm Director of Medical Research for Central Texas Neurology Consultants, and we're located in Round Rock, Texas. I'm here today to talk to you about clinical trials. What is a clinical trial? Well, it is a very scientific term. It's for a step-by-step process that's very standardized to ask a research question. Okay, it really is the final stage of the whole research process, and it takes about 12 years, maybe on average, for a drug to actually come from the lab to the market. And really, when we think about it, there's only about 10% of them that get to the human stage testing, and maybe 1 out of 5 of those actually go for FDA approval. So what we're doing, we're testing new drugs, we're looking for new treatment options, or maybe even new procedures. So we're looking at the safety, we're looking at the efficacy, and for preventing a disease, for treatment of disease. So really, our ultimate goal is to improve the patient's quality of life. Prevention trials are testing new drugs or new treatments, or maybe even a lifestyle change that may help prevent disease. So we know from clinical research that smoking increases a patient's risk for MS, as well as increases the risk for progression of the disease. So that would be something that we discovered as far as evidence in a prevention trial. We have diagnostic trials, and that's finding new ways of detecting and finding out more about the disease. The MRI really comes to mind. We use the MRI in diagnosis of MS. We use the MRI in monitoring a patient's disease progression. So the MRI is a great diagnostic tool, and we do have evidence in clinical trials as far as that's concerned. We have treatment trials, and this is what you're probably most familiar with. You know, this is monitoring new drugs, evaluating new combinations of treatments, and to determine the efficacy and the safety of the medications, of the treatments. We also have screening trials, and they evaluate a screening test or tool that might be useful in detecting the disease at a very early age or early stage, and where you can introduce treatments earlier. And we also have quality of life trials. You know, these trials are studying the psychological impact of the disease, looking for new ways to actually improve a patient's quality of life. We further categorize the trials into different phases. So our phase 1 trials, these are very small trials. They're healthy volunteers, and we're determining the safety of the dosage range in assessing and actually monitoring any side effects that may occur, keeping risks to a minimum. Then after phase 1, of course, we go into phase 2. These are generally larger trials, maybe a few hundred patients, and these are patients that actually have the disease. And we're further evaluating the safety and the efficacy of the medication, and looking at how the drug interacts in the body and how the body interacts with the drug. So the duration of these are approximately 1, maybe 2 years. After phase 2, then we've decided what the dosages might be that we're going to use in the clinical trial, go to phase 3. These are large trials. These are patients, again, who have the disease, and the duration is somewhere between 2 or 3 years, and they're really confirming what we're looking for. We're confirming the efficacy and the safety of the medication versus the risks. So monitoring any tolerability issues, any side effects. And this phase 3 trials go to FDA approval. So all this information, the clinical evidence that we receive from that very large trial is sent to the FDA. And then after that, sometimes the FDA requires maybe further trials that be done. We call those phase 4 trials, and they're looking really at the long-term safety is what we're doing.